To be completely honest, right now, I probably would not start another short-term rental because I already know how stressful it can be, and that is not the type of investment that I want in the long term. In the past 3 years, when we're running the short-term rentals, for me, it was also an experience of building a team from ground up. I cannot have somebody on my team who can be excellent communicator or who can be excellent cleaner, but not reliable or not responsive. Welcome to Fi Study Room, where we learn and achieve financial independence together. If you are ready to break free from the 9 to 5 and take control of your time, this is the right place. Quick note before we start. This episode is based on my personal experience and learning. It is not financial advice. So be sure to do your own research or talk to a pro if needed. Hi, I'm your host PJ. In the last episode, I shared 2 lessons I learned for running short-term rentals for the past 3 years. Lesson number 1, I did get pretty good return. I got around 20 to 25% cash on cash on yearly basis from my short-term rentals. And we calculated cash on cash together using real life examples. And I shared some monthly revenue and expenses. Lesson number 2, even though I got pretty good return, this is definitely not a passive thing. I shared a few moments when I was honestly doubting my choice and decision to ever start doing short-term rentals. There were times when the neighbor were basically trying to prevent us getting a short-term rental permit. There were also times when the guests would not leave and we had to get police involved. And after that, even after the guests left, we had to deal with a really nasty review, and it cost us so much money, time, and energy. There are also times when your cleaner don't show up on time and you had to deal with guests waiting outside at the door and finding a new cleaner to come immediately clean the house. For this episode, I'm going to be sharing 2 more lessons. Lesson number 3 is basically about how important a local team is and how easy all of this can just turn into a nightmare if you don't have a reliable team. Lesson number 4 is that even if for whatever reason your short-term rental is not doing well, there are other creative ways to get pretty good return. Okay, let's dive into that. Lesson 3. It is definitely a team effort. So in the stories that I was talking about earlier, I was talking about how bad the experience was if your team member is just not reliable, and it can easily become a nightmare. So what is a team in terms of short-term rentals? There's you, right? You are the host, you are the property owner. There is your property manager. There is your cleaner. If you have a pool, you have a pool cleaner as well. So that is 2 different sets of people actually. And you also need handyman because sometimes something gets broken very easily and then you need to send somebody to fix it. And having a functional and reliable local team is so important. In the past 3 years when we're running the short-term rentals, for me, it was also an experience of building a team from ground up. We actually had to change property manager 2 times, and then we changed our cleaning team 3 times. A lot of times, I almost felt like I was the HR for running a company, and I had to make certain difficult decisions of firing somebody or making decisions on hiring somebody and deciding how much we pay them and how do we pay them. Maybe it's similar to running all the business or even for our regular job. What's most important is being reliable, being responsive, I cannot have somebody on my team who can be excellent communicator or who can be excellent cleaner, but not reliable or not responsive. That's a deal breaker. It's okay that if you lack certain skills, yes, we can make that better. We can train, that's trainable. But if you're not a responsible person, that is a deal breaker. And that would, or if you don't feel responsible for the house, that would not work at all. So when we had our previous property manager, we had to pay a pretty high property management fee. And with that high fee, it's not worry-free at all. You have to step in all the time because the property managers just have so many properties and they don't care if you have a bad review or something bad happened to your property. It's just different. It's like it doesn't matter to them if your reviews or if your rating goes down or if the guests report something. After a few back and forth, we realized that it's not going to work that way because we're paying a high fee and we're being the person, or I'm worried about the property all the time, then what is the difference? So what happened was that I was working with my friend who also had short-term rentals in Reading. And then we were looking for new property managers. We interviewed somebody and then we hired them. And then it's been pretty good so far. So sometimes making difficult decisions of letting somebody go and just trying to get a person who is better fit for the position is also an important skill that I developed in this experience. That is property manager. Property manager is like the head of this entire short-term rental operation, and you definitely need somebody who is a reliable person. Coming to cleaners. Cleaner is, I would say, the second or even maybe equally important as your property manager, because it's really important to keep the property clean so that whenever the guests come or show up, they see a very clean and nice and comfortable house. So we had to change our cleaning team 3 times. The first time, that cleaning team was an in-house cleaning team from the previous property manager, and we just got so much complaint from the guests, and those problems were never taken care of. The second time, we worked with individual or independent cleaners, and they were good, but they were not responsive. And that is when that whole situation of cleaner does not show up on time happening multiple times. And that was not acceptable at all. Third time, we actually moved to a different system. So we were having our new property manager hiring different individual cleaners. So even if we don't have one person on that day or somebody did not show up, we always have a few backups. Unlike before, we just work with this one individual. And if they don't show up, you don't have anybody to clean your house that day, which was a really, really bad situation to be in. So far, the latest system that we have implemented works well. So we will see how that goes. Of course, we still kept getting all the feedback from the guests about how dirty the house is. In fact, I was just reading a message from the guest right before I was recording this. It still gives stress from time to time, but we're trying to find the best system to address those concerns or issues that's coming up from time to time. Apart from property manager and cleaning teams, there are also multiple tools that we're using. The way that it works right now is that we actually have a bunch of automatic messages sent out to guests at different time. And then we also have a software for smart pricing. So what that helps us is that it reduces a lot of operational overhead for both me and also my property manager. And also I don't need to adjust pricing all the time by myself. Another thing that we implemented for both houses is smart locks. A lot of the Airbnbs are already doing that, so that allows you to basically set a code on the door lock, and then you can share that code with your guest, and then you can change it every single time there is a new guest. It is pretty convenient. It has helped us a lot, and we're paying around $30 per software every month, which is pretty worthwhile. Overall, it takes a team's effort to build a good short-term rental and maintain it well. You need to have reliable property manager, very reliable cleaner, and also you need a bunch of tools to reduce the operational overhead for you and your property manager. Last lesson, be creative. Short-term rental is not the only way to get high return. This is a lesson that I learned over the past 3 years as well. We actually initially had 2 short-term rentals in Reading, but later on, I transformed one to a long-term rental, furnished long-term rental. And so far, after 2 years, it is actually generating similar return as my short-term rentals, which is pretty impressive. And we don't have any of those headache on the long-term rental at all, which is definitely a plus. That is exactly my point for the 4th lesson. Short-term rental is not the only way out. Sometimes if the house is not suitable for short-term rental, long-term rental or even mid-term rental could be a good option. I'll explain this a little bit more. So short-term rental usually means that it's usually what you see on Airbnb or VRBO. So you go to a place to travel, so you book one house to stay for a few days, maximum a few weeks. Mid-term rental, there is a different platform on this where a lot of people are actually looking for furnished mid-term rentals. Mid-term rentals can range from anywhere from 3 to 6 months, or even sometimes slightly longer. And usually those are the people who are going to be study or work in a certain place for a while, and then they're looking for a furnished place. And for mid-term rentals, you kind of get the benefit of both short-term rental and long-term rental. You don't have to worry as much, right? Because you have a guest occupying the place the whole time. And you also get a slightly higher rent compared to regular long-term rentals because you provide furnitures. So that's what we did for one of the short-term rentals. One of the short-term rentals was not performing as well, and then we had a lot of issues with guest reviews. The guest reviews were not good, and it was extremely difficult to get them removed from the platform, even when it is extremely unfair for us as hosts. Instead of having the house being a short-term rental, I listed on the mid-term rental website. It's called Furnished Find. On Furnished Find, I was able to find a group of tenants who work in Reading and then who wanted to have a long-term lease on this property, and they're looking for a furnished house. And this is exactly it. This is the place that they're looking for. So far, they have been living there for already 2 years, and then they just renewed their 3rd-year lease. And they have been great tenants. No issues at all during the entire stay, and they always paid on time. And after calculating the returns, we're also getting 20% cash on cash from that rental. To summarize this, lesson 4, if short-term rental does not work, it's okay. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. There's always a way out, and sometimes trying other platforms, trying mid-term rentals or long-term rentals could be as profitable as well. To be completely honest, right now, I probably would not start another short-term rental because I already know how stressful it can be, and that is not the type of investment that I want in the long term. That's why I actually stopped after my 2nd short-term rental. So I started trying other strategies like long-term rentals or trying to flip house, which we will be talking about later. But overall, I guess my advice for anybody who wants to start is, yes, there are high returns. If you're okay with all the tension and stress, go for it. Try it. See if that is something for you. If not, if you know that that's not what you're looking for, and you cannot do that in the long term, then maybe short-term rental is not for you. At least for me, I already know what it is, I know the return, and I also know that probably it's not really good for my mental health if I keep increasing my short-term rental portfolio. Alright, this is everything I have for today's episode. Let me know if you want to know more about short-term rentals. See you next week!